Hi everyone, it's me, Cliff. I'm back again, Sealands Media. This video that I'm going to be showing today is something that I recorded a few months back on my old mountain bike that I was telling you about. And this is the one that I bought the kit motor, 1 kilowatt motor, and had attached it to the bike. And I was, I think it might have been probably the third or fourth time I'd taken it out. And as you see, I was very happy with it. But I thought I'd better explain a few things. So on that video, on this particular video, you will see only 2 views, when in reality I had set it up to get 3 views. And I was using GoPros, so I had 3 GoPros on this bike at the time. And I learned a valuable lesson. So the camera that was attached to my chest, it recorded brilliantly, and the one that gave me the rear view also recorded brilliantly. So I set all 3 cameras to Pro Tunes, which is the GoPro version of RAW. Well, anyway, it's a log type image. It gives me better final footage. And I also set the white balance on daylight so that you don't get any color shift. I'm going to be outside all the time on the bike, so why not? So getting back to the ISO, so with the ISO I set the 2 cameras that worked on auto, but I forgot on the one that was facing me. I had been playing around and I had set a manual ISO, and what I got when I finally got back from the road, it was so washed out. You'll see an example of that on the screen right now. It was absolutely useless. So this particular video just shows the 2 views. So I thought I'd better explain that. As my promise, I will show you the problems that can happen, and then I'll show you the end results. So please enjoy this video, and it's a little bit long, but and I do ramble a bit, but I hope you enjoy it. Thank you. So this is the start of a track that heads out of Somerville down towards Hastings. We'll go over Bunga Road. Make sure there's no traffic. Very good. I think the important thing to remember when riding along these tracks, these are a shared pathway, so when you come around bends and that, just make sure that there's no one walking. You don't want to run into them. So I've got the electric motor system turned on, but I'm not actually using any power at the moment. Hello, I'm just going to come past you. Thank you. I think the other thing to remember sometimes when you coming along this trail, you have driveways coming onto it, so you just got to be a bit careful. Make sure that no one's coming out in a rush. Hello, I'm just coming past. Didn't want to startle you. Okay, so this is probably a good time to talk about the electric motor that I put on this bike, which I'm not using at the moment, keeping it in reserve for when I come back on the return trip. So I chose a Bafang 1 kilowatt motor, and I had an issue with trying to mount a normal battery onto this bike. because the triangle in the middle was just too small. Turns out that Lunamate in Western Australia have a battery called the Mighty Mini, 52 volt, and I tell you that with the Bafang motor has transformed this bike. Hang on, just wait till this person goes past. I've done a number of trips on it now, and I've found that probably the worst case scenario, which will probably happen today actually, where I could do around a 40k round trip, use the battery sporadically on the way down, depending on headwinds, and then using it basically for, I don't know, 50% of the time on the way back, and I still had 40% battery capacity left. So for you people out there considering this, you know, real world test, I'm really impressed. And I want to reach out and just thank Rod at Lunamate. Fantastic service, good prices. Had a couple of little technical issues and he resolved them for me without any problems whatsoever. Every time I reached out, he was there to react. So yeah, as far as I'm concerned, that's my recommendation. If you're in Australia, just get it from Rod at Lunamate in Western Australia. So this part of the journey, we're heading down, following the rail line. Well, as you can see, we're halfway between the road and the railway line over there on the right. We're heading down from Tyab now to Hastings. When I get to the sort of into the outer part of Hastings, we'll then revert on to there's a big park there, and open park for people who want to walk their dogs, ride their bikes, and we'll skid us through there, then through the marina, and then on to the boardwalk out in the marshes. We'll have to cross over the railway line down here a little bit. Do a little sort of a dog leg across the rail line. Now, one other thing which I find very useful, that with that kit, 1 kilowatt kit, you get a throttle, and basically when you need to get across something fast, you hit the throttle and away it goes. Very impressive. Here's another example of what I was on about. This is the trail that leads into the big open park here at Hastings, right on the edge of Western Port Bay. Hey ladies. There's another idea. When you go onto the grass and it's starting to get really hard to pedal, either kick in the throttle or just bring the motor up on the different level, give you a bit of assistance. So this is the other bit of advice I've got. When you're coming around narrow tracks like this, lots of vegetation, just take it easy, especially when you come around the bends. And make sure no one else is either coming towards you or that you're not going to run over someone as you come around the bend. Thank you. Got to be careful along here. As you can see, there are no edges. I mean, there are no fences. Very sharp edges. Okay. This is what I was talking about before. Well, maybe not this stretch, but a little bit later. You can actually see quite a distance, so you can ramp it up along here if you really want to. Keeping in mind the edges. Wouldn't want to go up that edge. This is a bit of a dangerous bend. It's hidden, it's got a steep hill. You're tempted to go fast. Got blind spots, so I just take it easy. Thank you. Thank you. I love this. I really do. If you come here, don't try and go through the gate there. Just come around here, and as you'll see, there's a nice easy ramp to come through to get out. There we go. Now turn left here. I'm going to attempt to give myself a bit of assistance here. There's a slight headwind and a slight grade. So what the hell? I got plenty of capacity. Still hovering around 57 volts. I'm on level 4, just as for those who are interested. I've got it set up with graduations of 9. So this is level 4 from a 9-step graduation. Makes life easy for you. You're still getting a bit of exercise. You're not using up a lot of energy from the battery. Away you go. Just as a matter of interest, one of the Australian Navy's old submarines is parked out there in Western Port Bay. Port of Hastings, Crib Point Jetty. Now, if I remember correctly, here we go. Woolies Beach Reserve. Okay, I discovered this the other day. Just take the... For those of you from part of the Northern Hemisphere, we tend to drive on the left-hand side of the road. I'll tell you what, you people that drive on the right-hand side of the road, you can keep it. 18 months ago I was in San Francisco and I was driving around. Oh my God, that was interesting. So I drove up from San Francisco up to Petaluma to go to the Twit Studios to see Leo Laporte. And this week in tech, I sat in on it. I think it was December 2017. And you know, the interesting thing about that was that so I left San Francisco and it was daylight. Gingerly drove myself up there, went in, and any of you who listen to or watch Leo on This Week in Twit, you'll know that the sessions go for quite often up to 2.5 hours. Anyway, I came out of the studio when it was finished, and it was pitch black. I was terrified because I had to drive all the way back to San Francisco on the wrong side of the road with a massive amount of traffic. But I did it with the aid of the iPhone, thankfully, and Apple Maps. But I have to say that was a very terrifying experience. I'd only been in the country for, 1.5 days. So I'd gone from driving on the left-hand side, flew for 24 hours, landed in San Francisco, and suddenly I'm driving on the right-hand side. That was an experience. And just getting back to that San Francisco adventure on the roads, so I got back to San Francisco that night, parked the car in a underground car park. Next morning, got up at 5 o'clock, collected the car, and then headed down into Silicon Valley. I wanted to see what it was like. I actually ended up going to Cupertino down to see the Apple, the new Apple building. I mean, I can only see it from the outside, but it was still incredible, and visit the Apple Center there, which was also, quite incredible. But that drive at 5 o'clock in the morning on one of the main freeways, well, actually, that's the other thing that got me. To get to Cupertino, it was like going on 5 different freeways. And so imagine about, I think, 4 or 5 lanes aside, full of traffic, but continually moving at high speed. Yeah, that was fun. And it was a really weird sensation when you were approaching an off-ramp to another freeway, and you had to have this thought in your mind, keep to the right, which is so alien to someone who is grown up and lived with driving on the left. Because if you want to get off a freeway here, you get in the left-hand lane, but over there, you've got to be in the right-hand lane. Anyway, sorry, rambling, but I just thought you might find that interesting while we're meandering away down these tracks. By the way, if you're enjoying this, and if you have any interest in vintage enduro racing, please go to my website, Sealens Media, where you'll find, so it's sealensmedia.com, where you'll find documentaries of different vintage enduro events that have been produced over the years. And these are full stories. These aren't just little grabs. These are, I think the shortest one goes for about, 40 minutes. There's some that go for almost 2 hours. And what it is, I just document these guys who go off and ride the vintage bikes in sort of makeshift competitions. It's fantastic. So please go and have a look. One of the joys of living on the peninsula. I can get away. I'm being social isolating. No, all jokes aside, I am. I wasn't trying to be funny about that. That I understand that it is serious. But what I'm saying is that it's easy to do it down here and still have fun. I don't know what made me think of this, but maybe because I was talking about San Francisco earlier. I had a weird experience on my final day. I was staying in San Bruno, which is just below San Francisco. It's near the airport, and that was the reason I was staying there. And I decided, I think I still had a day to go, and I was a bit bored, so I went for a walk. And I discovered this huge park. And the weird thing about this park was that it had gum trees everywhere. Seriously, by the time I got into the middle of it, I sat down and I just I actually I did a video of it, but I'll get that up later. But I felt as if I was home. It had had the smell of the eucalypt, had the look of the gum trees. I was back in Australia. And yet, if you look, when you see the video later, when I'm literally looking out over the ocean from the park, there's San Francisco. It was a weird sensation. Weird sensation. Obviously someone had planted the Australian trees there and had for some reason had decided to make it a eucalypt park. Oh, thank you. I was going to stop.
Equilibrium going.
What's that? Oh.
You don't want to stop.
Oh, that's fine. I appreciate it. Thank you. There we are, Stony Point. Not far from here we have Cerberus, which is one of our naval bases. Might have a poke around on the Stony Point pier. Was the stingray trying to get the bait?
Yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Holy hell. But you could actually see him going for it.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
It's a big fine if you hook up with them along here.
Oh, seriously? Oh,
Well, you can hook up with them, but you got to get rid of them. And
I'm just more intrigued about the fact I didn't know what they ate. I just, for some reason, assumed that I don't know what I assumed. Anyway.
no, he must have smelt the squid, that's for sure.
Wow.
But we've seen 3 now out here.
Well, I suppose when you think about it, the tide's out. Yeah.
Yeah, he just wants to go and play in the rock pools, and then we're going to come back and I think I'm wasting my time fishing up here, in this grass.
Yeah, I think you might be right.
Where all the whiting is, because I could literally see one.
Yep,
So.
yeah.
All right, Ryan, let's
Well,
go.
I'll let you be. Thank you very much.
No worries, you're welcome.
Basically, that was a nice little journey from Somerville down to Stony Point. I hope you've enjoyed this video and come back for more.